Lil Durk, whose real name is Dirk Banks, is facing 2 additional felony charges, including conspiracy. He's accused of conspiring with others to murder a rival rapper in Los Angeles in 2022, but the shooters missed their intended target and killed someone else. 5 other people are also facing charges, 4 of whom are from the Chicago area.
Lil Durk and 5 co-conspirators are charged with murder for hire. Number 1, are you surprised?
Nah, not surprised.
Why is that?
Like the raps have become real. Like they've been real. They've been real since like the drill started.
Lil Durk's time behind bars has taken a shocking turn, and fans can't stop talking about it. Recent reports about his treatment in jail have sparked outrage, with viral posts revealing disturbing details of his struggles. The situation has raised serious questions about his well-being as the buzz grows louder. Let's dive into what's really going on and how Durk's time in jail is sending shockwaves across social media. Durk's jail situation. Lil Durk, the Chicago rapper and Grammy winner, was initially locked up in South Florida for a for-hire plot which took place back in 2022. His arrest has landed him in the infamous Broward County Jail, a place known for its tough conditions and tight security. Durk was arrested on October 25th and sent to Broward County Jail, awaiting transfer to the United States Marshals. However, delays in the transfer process meant he'd be stuck in that notorious facility for some time. Even though the crimes didn't happen in Florida, he was held there because that's where he was caught and bail wasn't an option. Broward County Jail always had the reputation of a seriously rough place. Nearly half of the inmates are dealing with mental health issues, and reports of harsh conditions are common. The facility is massive with 4 different sections, and the main jail holds some of the state's most dangerous criminals. Some were even saying Durk was housed near YNW Melly, another high-profile inmate currently in the same jail. However, there was no VIP treatment there. Prisoners are sorted based on the severity of their crimes, and strict security measures are in place across the board. The jail itself is like a fortress with 8 stories and constant surveillance through numerous cameras. Despite this, it's faced accusations of staff mistreating inmates, including physical abuse and neglect. Florida laws block public access to footage from inside the facility, making it hard to confirm what really happens behind those walls. Former inmates, however, have shared disturbing stories about the poor conditions, especially for those with mental health struggles. While Durk was in Broward, some mental health concerns were also raised. Stories from other inmates tell us just how bad extreme isolation can get, with some locked away for over 100 days without proper mental health care. In some tragic cases, prisoners have died due to neglect, like not being fed adequately. Some former inmates say that privacy is one of the first things that you have to part ways with. Prisoners are constantly under watch with very little personal space. You're often living in overcrowded areas, with your belongings thoroughly checked, and every move or conversation is monitored. Solitude is a rare luxury in jail, and getting used to a lifestyle where you have no real privacy takes some serious adjustment. Personal matters become public, seen by both the staff and other inmates, which can make daily life uncomfortable. But recently, Durk was moved to a different jail. Durk was transferred to law for arraignment, and that's not all. His bail request was denied too. The charges just seemed too serious for the judge to take any risks.
Recently pled not guilty in a court as well, and he was denied bail. He was denied bail because they basically said, remember, he was booked. They said that he was booking all those flights.
Right.
They didn't know what was about to happen, where he was going when they caught him and locked him up. They think he's a flight risk, so they denied him bail.
MDCL Durk's time in 1600 won't be much different from Broward. He's still cooked. This place already has a rep for holding big names. And with Durk's high-profile case, they've stepped up security around him. They're keeping a close watch, making sure nothing pops off. What's surprising, though, is Durk turning down protective custody. Most celebs in his spot would have played it safe. But he said, "I'm good," and stayed with the general population. That's a bold move. But it looks like it's working out for him. Word from a jail call says the inmates aren't giving him a hard time, and he's being treated somewhat favorably. Seems like Durk's holding his own even behind bars. Now the MDC itself, it's packed way over capacity with more than 1,000 people squeezed in there, but it's also got some programs to keep inmates busy. Things like treatment, education, and rec activities. If Durk wants to pass the time productively, he's got options. Of course, life there still isn't sweet privacy. Is a joke, visits are locked into strict hours, and every move is monitored because of his status. But even with all that, Durk's choice to stay with the general population shows he's standing on his principles. Durk's RPI. But let's rewind it a bit. Why is Lil Durk in jail right now? He was arrested on charges related to seeking revenge for the homie King Va, but he's not the only one facing legal trouble. 5 other members of his OTF crew have also been arrested and are dealing with similar charges. The feds believe OTF may be more than just a music group, with prosecutors claiming it operates like a gang. The accusations center around a shooting on August 22nd, where Durk and his associates chased down Rondo, who's connected to King Von's to carry out their plans. It said they used an OTF member's credit card to book flights to Los Angeles, aiming to track down Rondo. A team member of Durk's crew is said to have set up accommodations for the group as they carried out their plan and also provided them with firearms. They then rented 2 cars to follow Rondo and his cousin. The moment came when Quando and his cousin stopped for gas, which gave the attackers the opportunity they'd been waiting for. They got out of their car and opened fire on Quando, and his cousin Quandu somehow managed to escape without injury. His cousin unfortunately lost his life in the attack. Prosecutors claimed that after the shooting, the group met up at a nearby restaurant to discuss the payment for the hit. They also bought round-trip tickets to Chicago, which prosecutors say is a key part of their evidence, including alleged CCTV footage of the shooting. Even though Quando managed to escape the shooting unharmed, the incident left a deep mark on him not long after a video surfaced, showing Quando talking to cops visibly in pain when he saw the police removing his cousin's body from the car. It was a moment of raw emotion for him. His cousin Lil Pob was down, and the only reason why that happened was because he was next to Quando. Later, Quando opened up in an interview about the aftermath of Lil Pabs telling the world about how he really felt about what took place. He mentioned how the incident made him feel more suspicious and hyper-aware, always on edge. Even years later, it still haunts.
With that happening to my right-hand man, that's the reason I think, bro, I be thinking, bro, you could've did this, he could've did this, your little partner could've did this who from here that be with your little cousin got a plug in this place, he could've. I just think so many ways about it to the point where, bro, I done took the thought of auto.
This wasn't the first time Quando had been involved with fire, though back in 2021 after a show in Georgia. Quando was as he was leaving the venue with his crew. He managed to escape injury, but one of his companions was in the hand. The shooter was never identified, but given the circumstances, many believe it was a get-back connected to V. The link between this incident and Durk's case remains clear. But considering the details of Durk's arrest, it's possible there's a connection to Lil PB's death. But something that not many people know is that even before all the drama, Rondo had a lot of respect for Durk, even calling him a mentor or big brother.
I had a relationship with the big bro. Not want to say his name. Not, you feel me? You know what I'm talking about, the dude that was on my album.
Okay.
It was all love with us from my understanding.
I've heard you.
In a 2021 interview with Angela Y, Quando opened up about his relationship with Durk and King Vow, sharing some interesting insights. Their chat kicked off with thoughts about the bond between him and Durk, which at the time seemed pretty solid. They even had a song together before all the mess surrounding King Von's death. Quando made it clear that he wasn't bringing up names for attention or clout. He wasn't trying to get popular off this, to just stating his side. He referred to Durk as his big bro and admitted they had a good relationship, at first filled with respect and admiration. Quando said he always spoke highly of Durk, and it seemed like the conflict was mostly coming from one side while he didn't want to fully jump into the beef. He acknowledged that his crew wanted to be compensated for their efforts. He even spoke about how much Durk had inspired him and other artists, considering him a role model since he was 12. But it seems like Durk didn't feel the same way Von's passing the big question that's come up, is whether Quando Rondo was actually responsible for King Von's death. Footage from that night shows King Von in a white shirt walking towards Quando, who was chilling by a car after some kind of confrontation. Quando left the scene and his boy L. Tim ended up firing the fatal shots that took Von's life. In the interview with Angela Wee, Quando talked about how surreal it felt in the moment, almost like he was watching himself from outside his body. He acknowledged V's reputation for being tough, but also stressed how serious the situation was. The official story says Quando was just chilling in the car outside a club waiting for his friend when he got out. He bumped into VOU and his crew, who were supposedly looking to start something. When Kiyu's friend Lil Tim saw his boy getting attacked, he stepped in and fired the SH that took Von's life. L. Tim was arrested right after, but was later cleared of charges, which shocked a lot of people. Many thought he'd at least get a man charge. But the case was dropped, much to the anger of Von's family and his ex-girlfriend, who expressed frustration online after the shooting. Quando and his people faced backlash. With some of V's crew holding a serious grudge, this led to 2 attempted attacks on Quando. Despite all that, there's clear evidence that he and Durk once had a deep connection, with Durk kind of acting like a big brother to him, especially to Von. So it makes sense why Durk would be holding on to some serious resentment toward Quando. But nobody expected Durk to go as far as he has in terms of retaliation. In an interview with No Jump back in April, Quando spoke about the hate he's gotten, saying he wasn't worried about it because those people were never really on his side anyway. He also said some things that really ticked off Von's supporters. Like, when God calls you, you have to go, brother. While Quando didn't start the beef, his words definitely didn't help cool things down, especially with people who might have ties to gangs. Durk, on the other hand, has said he's not involved in gang activities, but his close ties to Von suggest otherwise. Given all their past drama, it's hard to say if OTF is just a music group or something deeper. Even though the shooting happened back in February 2019, Durk wasn't arrested until May, and that's when he decided to turn himself in, while VAU tragically passed before any decision came down. Durk ended up being cleared of all charges, but that wasn't the end of the drama. There was another shooting that went down after Von's death, though some claim it was a plan V had put together before he passed. FBG Duck's family stepped into the picture, accusing both Durk and Von of being involved in Duck's death just weeks before Durk's arrest. Duck's mom even filed a lawsuit that called out Durk and Von directly. Duck's story. So in August of 2020, FBG Duck was taken out in a brazen shooting outside a Dolce & Gabbana store. His girlfriend and a friend were also hurt in the incident. The lawsuit names not just Durk and Vow, but also their assets, 2 security companies, and a bunch of associates tied to Oblock in case you ain't know FBG. Duck was repping GD, and Ook has long been linked to their rivals, the BDS. This beef has been going on for years, but things really heated up when Duck and VAU started dropping diss tracks aimed at each other, even though V wasn't around when Duck was. Accusations started flying with claims that Von had offered a reward for Duck's death. Duck's family isn't holding back in their lawsuit either. They allege that Durk's OTF operates more like a criminal organization than a music company. They even named big names like Sony in the suit, saying these companies supported artists who were in illegal activities. The lawsuit takes things further, accusing VAU and OTF of fueling violence in Chicago to boost their record sales. They argue that this reality WAP strategy, using real-life violence, controversy, and chaos, was a way to create a profitable brand and rack up views, dreams, and sales now. With Durk's criminal history under a brighter spotlight, even more details are surfacing after his most recent arrest. A clip popped up of him chatting with Aiden Ross, a big influencer and streamer, in the video. Aiden brings up Durk's new song and asks how often he's been in jail. Durk keeps it real, confirms he's been through it, and thanks Aiden for giving him some love. Aiden ends by saying he's adding Durk's track to his playlist and wishing him well. Even though Durk's seen as a Chicago rap legend, the skeletons in his closet keep making headlines at 32. He's been in the rap game since his early 20s, pulling from his experiences with gang culture and growing up in Chicago. It's been a rough road for him, one filled with challenges and hurdles that would break most people. And it all started with a tough childhood, shaped by the absence of his father. Early days, Durk had a tough start in life. His dad was imprisoned for life, leaving his mom, a nurse, to raise him alone without much guidance. Durk turned to the streets and quickly learned how to survive. In 2013, he was arrested for carrying two load and spent 6 months in jail, missing the birth of his first child. During that time hit him hard, but he would end up in trouble again. Durk has lost many friends to violence. He once said around 20 to 30 of them were killed, including his close friend Nui. Despite all this, he stayed focused on music for a while. But in 2019, he and V were caught up in a shooting investigation in Atlanta. Durk turned himself in and faced serious charges after getting out on bail. More tragedy followed. He lost V in 2020 and his brother in 2021 lately. Durk has talked about wanting to change. He shared on Twitter that his criminal record was being cleared, calling it a fresh start. He said he's focused on second chances and thanked his faith and supporters for helping him move forward. Durk even said he wants to inspire others to believe they can change too, but his past isn't easy to escape. If he's found guilty for arranging the hit on PAB, he could stay behind bars for life. While Durk did talk about changing his life, his actions make you question if he meant it. Is he truly committed to starting over, or is his past still pulling him back? Let us know what you think down below before you go. Make sure to check this video out too.